Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the best buffs and the best cores around those buffs for the Open Ultra League. Ultra League, of course, a lot of Pokemon got buffed here, and today we're going to take a look at the 10 biggest buffs. Some of them are actually indirect buffs, so like Pokemon that didn't actually get changed directly, but going to be better against the upcoming meta, as well as like generally with the changes that happened, going to be better because the Anti-Psy got nerfed. And so, yeah, today we're going to take a look at the best Pokemon here. And of course, if you want to follow the channel, feel free to do so. It is free, helps me out a ton. And we can start off right with Pokemon number 1. And of course, also the best cores around those Pokemon. We start off with Galarian Weezing, a Pokemon that did not receive a singular buff. But it kinda got buffed because Mud Slap got nerfed, and that is a big reason why Weezing is going to be a bit stronger for the upcoming season, even though it is already very, very strong prior. The thing is here as well, this Pokemon is really good against the current meta, has great coverage against the current meta, and is a Fairy type that beats Fairy type Pokemon, which is really nice because there are quite a lot of good Fairy type Pokemon in the current meta, especially as there's going to be even another one that is going to join the meta very, very soon here as well, which you're going to take a look later in this video. Weezing is going to be a fantastic Pokemon to build for the upcoming season, and yeah. This is, by the way, based kind of more on how high the ranking increase is. Here in this case, it's going to be 26 ranks higher for the Weezing, which is going to be fantastic. And of course, here the best course towards this Pokemon, where we have Ludicolo, which is going to be fantastic, going to cover up still the weakness of ground for yourself. We have the Guzzlord, which is generally the poison plus a dark core, which we've seen multiple times before as well, which is very handy, especially as you have dark type coverage as well on the Weezing. And then we have Jellicent here as well. They all work out quite well with each other and with the weaknesses that this Pokemon is going to have. So yeah, let's move on to the Pokemon number 2, which is going to be Gyarados. Gyarados is going to be able to get actually 2 buffs, but only one is really used, which is going to be the Twister buff. Haven't tried Twister Gyarados yet. I kind of want to try it out for the Great League still. Actually haven't really done a lot of battles recently for the Great League. But there's going to be more battle videos coming up as well on the channel. Don't wait for that. They're going to be happening here for sure. And we're going to see that Gyarados is going to be a fantastic Pokemon for the upcoming season. It's going to be a Pokemon that's very likely not going to be used that often, though, I would assume, because it's going to be just some more interesting one. But still, it's a big upgrade. 23 ranks here for Gyarados is going to be great. And as you're going to see here, we're going to have the Zygarde complete, as well as the Credilli as great partners, especially the Credilli I like a lot, as you're going to be able to kind of handle the weaknesses of each other quite well. And so this is going to be a very fun Pokemon to run with Twister. Twister, very, very strong move generally. Very cool Pokemon. And there's going to be quite a lot of water type Pokemon in today's video, which is kind of funny because actually a lot of the Pokemon that are going to be where water types would be good against, I got nerfed with the Mud Slap nerf, but here Dondozo is going to be quite a bit stronger, to the point that it's going to be top meta. Number 14 for the upcoming Ultra League is going to be Dondozo with a Waterfall, Surf, as well as Outrage. Dondozo has amazing bulk, which is the main reason why this Pokemon exists. It is super, super bulky, and with that, it's going to be a very difficult Pokemon to take down. With Waterfall, you have consistent, solid damage with your fast move. Waterfall is now a clone of Mud Slap, like I think the nerfed Mud Slap. But yeah, Dondozo is going to be quite a bit stronger with that. It's going to be able to generate energy faster, gets to a Surf after 5 and then 4 fast moves. Outrage as a coverage move. Dondozo is actually way better than you might expect as well. I played I coached someone with Dondozo in the Great League just recently, and it was a fantastic pick. So super underrated Pokemon. I think it's a fantastic Pokemon to run right now. And here's some cool cores, not Tentacruel, but we're going to have here the Combo, which makes a lot of sense, as you're going to have Outrage coverage on Dondozo, and like basically use, for example, the lead of the Combo, and then you say up Dondozo, you're still going to be able to trap those other Dragon types. Same kind of goes for the Weezing lead in Dondozo as in the back makes a lot of sense as well. Is again, like Weezing going to be good against Dragon type Pokemon. Dondozo has Outrage as a coverage move, but also Weezing is going to be weak to Ground type Pokemon, which Dondozo is going to be able to handle, as Dondozo is going to be weak to Pokemon from the type Grass, for example, which Weezing can handle. And so like those two are very good cores there together with the Dondozo. Very good team just generally. They are like very good quad to use. There still needs to be like a Say-Up or something in the back then there, but generally speaking, this is kind of what you want to run. Ampharos is going to get better without getting actually changed. This Pokemon got buffed so many times over the last few seasons anyway that, yeah, that's the main reason why this Pokemon even exists in the Ultra League. It was actually quite prominent already last season, but this season's most likely going to be even stronger, as you're going to have here the Ampharos with Voltage boosting Trailbase going to be up to rank 64 for the upcoming season. Or like for this season, it's actually up already. All we're going to see is going to be especially fantastic against the top core meta here. As you said as well before already, quite a lot of water types going to be here in the buffed tier list as well, but also quite a lot of water and flying type Pokemon are already around, and this is where Ampharos can shine. This Pokemon has fantastic coverage, very difficult to get rid of, only one weakness in ground, which recently got nerfed in terms of Mud Slap, and so Ampharos is very, very solid still this season. It's going to be Pokemon you have to definitely be careful with. Here's some good Pokemon to you paired with. Yes, this is Armored Mewtwo. It's not Mewtwo Mega, of course, but like there is no gift towards Armored Mewtwo, as it's only a Pokemon Go thing. Of course, from the movie, but like there's never been in the main series games, basically. And here we're going to have the Cresselia as an alternative option as well. Just kind of the Psych-type Pokemon make a lot of sense here with it. And so we can move on to the next Pokemon, which is going to be Annihilape. Annihilape, of course, is going to be here as one of the strongest updates, because it's got access to low kick and is actually going to be way, way better now with this one. It's one of the most dominant Pokemon currently in the Great League. I still have to try this Pokemon out, but I will try it out for sure. It's super, super overpowered. It's so difficult to deal with this thing here, as like low kick Rage Fist is ridiculous, especially with Cross Combat now as like a nuke move as well as an option. Is kind of wild. Here's some Pokemon you kind of want to pair it with. We're going to have some anti-flyer at the belly boat as well as the Steelix, and then we're going to have a very good Seizup as well with the Lickilicky. For example, you could even run any of the other bottom two Pokemon as your closer, Lickilicky, Seizup, and you're going to have a fantastic team for yourself with the Annihilape, as this is kind of the way you want to play it anyway. It's a fantastic Pokemon. Like, it's honestly such a good Pokemon. I still want to try it out in the Great League. It's so good. But yeah, we can move on to the next one, which is going to be Palossand. Palossand with Astonish, Shadow Ball, as well as Scorching Sands. Is going to get a little bit of a buff. This Pokemon got access to, or like still has access to Sand Tomb, which is now going to be quite a bit stronger, and also is boosting the Astonish damage of this Pokemon, which makes at least this Pokemon quite a bit more unique like this. What I could see actually being solid as well would be Scorching Sands over Shadow Ball, but Shadow Ball going to give you the better burst damage, basically. Shadow Ball is quite a bit stronger than Scorching Sands itself. Just for coverage reasons, Scorching Sands allows you to hit like Pokemon better with like ground type damage. But Palossand itself, like Sand Tomb Astonish, seems to be a bit of a deadly play, and here are some Pokemon that you kind of want to run with it. Yeah. Generally speaking, like you're going to have here the Primarina in order to deal with the Dark type Pokemon, and you're going to have the Credilli, which just have a good defensive core together with it, because it kind of beats the Pokemon that Palossand is going to be weak to. Tentacruel didn't get buffed directly, but Tentacruel got buffed indirectly, because again, we're going to have no Mud Slappers anymore around. Like, they got nerfed quite a bit, and it's very good against the current meta, which you saw already before as well. We had Toxapex similarly in the Great League, but here now Tentacruel is going to be a very good Pokemon, because it's very good against all the Fairy type Pokemon which are currently floating around. And here's a very good core. It's just generally Guzzlord. Guzzlord Tentacruel is what you want to run. This is the ideal core. Kyurem is an alternative option, but Guzzlord Tentacruel is fantastic. Guzzlord currently in raids as well. Give it a try. That's the way you want to go. Like, this is definitely the way you want to go. That's the core you want to run. And there's no real doubts about that. Politoed is going to be next. Like, Politoed itself is one of my favorite Pokemon. I do think actually that it might be better to go for Ice Beam or Blizzard. On this Pokemon, I want to cover up the Dragon as well as Flying type Pokemon, because they're quite prevalent in this meta, as well as Verzian. But here it's recommended to run Earthquake on this Pokemon. I don't really agree with it, as said prior. I rather would go for the Ice Beam coverage move in order to deal with like look at the Pokemon that you lose here, for example, against. You have Moltres, you have the what's called Regidrago, we're going to have Verzian, we're going to have Togekiss, we're going to have the Giratina Altered, all weak to Ice Beam. Like, that's all Pokemon that you lose to currently. Like, it doesn't mean that you're going to win directly against them, but you're going to have better play against them. So I would say that this makes more sense with Ice Beam, but this is not what is recommended. But here are some Pokemon that you kind of want to run. I do like that the core between Gliscor as well as Politoed together makes the most amount of sense. Gliscor itself actually dropped in ranking with the recent move update, because Night Slash got kind of nerfed, and because I think the move set that is currently there is just not going to have the best ranking generally. But Gliscor plus Politoed would be kind of the core that I would go for, because Gliscor is not going to be weak against the electric typing, while the other two that are above are going to be double weak to electric. And again, we had already Ampharos on this list, which is going to be quite a common Pokemon for the upcoming season. So you kind of want to be prepared, as well as like with Belly Bolt around. You rather want to have something that can deal with those. A Pokemon that can deal with electric type Pokemon going to be Swampert as well. This Pokemon is going to be one of the biggest buffs, of course, of the season, with Mudshot being back to where it was before. Here, Earthquake definitely makes a lot of sense, though. You can run such as well in order to cover up a little bit the Fairy type Pokemon, but generally speaking, I do think that Earthquake makes a lot of sense here, as you have already with Hydro Cannon a very, very strong coverage move there as well that's going to be stab for yourself, so like you don't really need to have such on this Pokemon. Earthquake gives you like the burst damage it's going to have, allow you to nuke some opponents away, which can be quite handy. And generally speaking, Swampert of course wants to run big Pokemon like the Moltres, like the Corviknight in the back. Those flying type Pokemon is exactly where Swampert is going to be best with, and that's how you always kind of want to play Swampert. And the final one for today is actually going to be Primarina. I don't really expect this would be the biggest buff of the season, but this is the biggest buff for the Ultra League currently of the season, because Waterfall got buffed. And so Waterfall, Disarming Voice, and Hydro Cannon Primarina is such a meta breaker. It's going to get up by 120 rankings, which is kind of mad. And so with that, Primarina is now going to be one of the best Pokemon to run for the Open Ultra League. And the best Pokemon to pair it with is going to be the Guzzlord. And this is going to be it for this video. Stay tuned for tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to take a look at the top teams most day for the Ultra League, so definitely stay tuned for that. And yeah, follow for more, and see you then. Bye bye.